Well, guess it's time for me to do exactly what everyone else has been doing for the last few weeks and talk about Dark Souls Remastered. Now I could go about this the same way everyone else has and just shit over it a bit more, but I think that's getting old and the game deserves a bit more praise. In my opinion, Dark Souls Remastered is a perfect way to relive an already amazing game. There, I said it, you happy? Dark Souls is a 7-year-old game that looked amazing, sounded amazing, mostly, but ran like complete dog shit. Hopefully no one is going to argue with me so far. The community loved the game so much that they started a petition to port the game to PC, and the devs at FromSoft hadn't really worked with PC hardware before, and the god-awful job they did is arguably one of the worst PC ports in history. About 30 minutes after the PC release of Dark Souls, Derunshubdubshubdb released DSFix, which fixed most of the game's port issues, including frame rate, higher resolution, etc. This is where everyone is getting pissed off at the remaster. Because of this mod for the PC version, many people believe that there was no point in getting the remaster if the original works well enough with DSFix. And if I hadn't played the remaster, I completely agree. I mean, if the game runs fine anyway, what's the point? But after actually playing the remaster, I've noticed everything wrong with DSFix.
I should've let you— what the fuck?
Don't get me wrong, vanilla Dark Souls is trash without DSFix enabled, and the advantages do outweigh the disadvantages, but DSFix's imperfections really start to shine when you play the remaster. For example, one of the arguments for not getting the remaster is, "But DSFix already makes the game run at 60 FPS! Now I can tell you, I've put nearly 300 hours into vanilla Dark Souls with DSFix, and I can't even put into words how wrong that statement is. But I'm gonna try. Yes, DSFix allows the game to run at 60 FPS, and even higher, but the higher you go, the more issues occur. You fall through the ground, jumping isn't as effective, sometimes your inputs just don't work, and the list goes on. And not only that, but the game barely manages to hit 40 FPS in some areas. Most people point to Blighttown whenever FPS is mentioned, and I personally don't have any issues in that area, but one of the biggest early game FPS killers for me is the bridge towards Ceaseless Discharge, where the lava just murders my PC. And the worst place in the entire game for frame rate is easily Sooth's boss fight. You find me someone who can run this shit at 60 FPS on the original Dark Souls, and I'll be fucking amazed. You go to the remaster, however, and you don't have any of those issues. The game does run at a perfect 60 FPS. Constantly. Some people have had issues, sure, that's the same with every game, but I'd argue I've not dropped a single frame. Ever. Ceaseless Discharge, perfect. Blighttown, completely playable. Seath the fucking Frameless, buttery smooth. The one ladder everyone used to clip through in the original, you don't now? Now that the game has been optimized to run at a solid 60 FPS, jumping now works as intended. In vanilla Dark Souls, you had to drop the frame rate down to 30 for jumps to work properly, because for whatever reason the frame rate completely fucked up your jump. But now you don't even have to worry about it.
All of this just works.
Dark Souls Remastered was not intended for veterans to go back and nitpick at everything. It was simply designed as an easier way to play Dark Souls 1, with a few quality of life improvements and less technical imperfections. Anyone who is wanting some Shadow of the Colossus type remake are clearly forgetting that this is a remaster and not a remake. I know I'm beating a dead horse saying that, but it's very true. If you want to compare it to Shadow of the Colossus, then compare it to the 2011 HD remaster, which upped the resolution and frame rate and tweaked the lighting. Sound familiar? Just wait, I'm sure once the Dark Souls money tree starts to wither, they'll release a full-on remake with new assets, textures, sound.
Spoil my focus.
But for now, just be happy with what we have, because it's not actually all that bad.